In EVE Online, the align time of a ship is a critical aspect of navigation and survival. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we will race for the fastest possible align time in EVE Online. For that, we will clarify what align time and ship agility is, and we will review top 30 EVE Online ships with the best organic align time. We will go through under 2 seconds align time mechanics, and I will explain why it is important and how that works, and finally we will build the fastest under 1 second align time ship. Why? Because we can. Come on, big girl, you can do it. So, what is align time? Align time is the amount of time a ship takes to align itself to a destination before ship initiate warp. Destination can be a station, an object in space, or a stargate. A ship must reach 75% of its maximum velocity in the direction of its destination before it enters warp. The align time represents how long this process takes. The faster the ship aligns, the quicker it can enter warp, evade, and become invulnerable. Now is the high time to introduce a key aspect of EVE Online, which is ship agility. Ship agility refers of how quickly a ship can change its velocity and the direction, impacting its ability to align, accelerate, and decelerate. Today we cover the align part only, but it's well worth it to mention not always but on certain situations. An improvement in align time also translates into an improvement in acceleration and deceleration. Here are the key elements of agility in EVE Online. First of all, we have the Inertia Modifier. So agility is governed by the Inertia Modifier that we have it in here. For example, we have 3.2378 for our Imperator. A lower Inertia Modifier means a ship is more agile, enabling it to turn and align faster. So it's very important to lower this Inertia Modifier. We have talked at the beginning of this vid about the organic ship Inertia Modifier. Can we see it? Well, what we have here is a new character with zero training. However, EVE Online new characters may come with some relevant skills already trained. In this case, we have here evasive maneuvering, which improve with 5% per level ship agility for all ships, right? And we already have 1 level trained, so we have 5% improved agility from here. And also we have spaceship command. Let's search for it. Nice. So we have a spaceship command, which gives us 2% ship agility per level, and we already have 4 levels, which means we have 8% from here. So, simulating a ship with a new character should reveal us the organic ship alignment, right? The organic means the ship alignment with no influences at all. No skills, no modules, no implants, nothing, just the ship base organic alignment. Alright, for that, let's try to simulate a Daredevil. I have it in here, and simulate ship. So, for this Daredevil, the current inertia, which is shown here, should be equal with the organic inertia multiplied by 0.92. Remember, we were having spaceship command 2% 4 times, that gives us 8%, so we need to multiply it here with 0.92 and multiply again with 0.95. Remember, there were evasive maneuvering 1 level of 5%, and After that calculation, we need to obtain our inertia modifier displayed in here, which is 2.7968. Right. After we do this calculation, the Daredevil organic inertia modifier is 3.2, because 3.2 multiplied by 0.92 multiplied by 0.95 will give us this 2.7968 current inertia modifier. All right. There is very important discussion in here, because as we can see, there is a trick in this formula. It would be very easy, maybe somehow intuitive, to consider, okay, we have 8% from the spaceship command, we have 5% from evasive maneuvering, that makes 13%. Let's apply that to the base and obtain our inertia modifier. As we've seen, this is not working like that. Every single percent applies to a lower and lower base, and that is really important when we want to calculate our inertia modifier, and after that when we want to calculate align time, because again we will apply these percentages to a lower and a lower base, and when we came close to 2 seconds, or we can get close to 1 second align time, these calculations and these percentages and these bases, this base becomes really important. Now that we have an organic inertia, right, let's calculate the organic alignment time. And the organic alignment time is the formula from here, minus natural logarithm of 0.25 multiply by organic inertia and multiply by mass and divided by 1 million. Alright, let's not get scared of this apparently complicated formula. Let's try to clarify a little bit. So we have a minus in front because the natural logarithm of 0.25 actually is a negative number, so we put a minus in front of it to make it a positive one, right? After that we have the organic inertia that we have calculated at the step before, and after that we have the mass divided by 1 million. As we see here, already the mass is tons, so tons needs to be divided by 1000 in here. Alright, so also we can replace this fancy natural logarithm of 0.25 with the value of 1.386. That's perfectly okay to do that, right? Because it's easier for us to calculate. Apparently for the computers it's easier to calculate with the natural logarithm. So based on that, for our Daredevil we will have the organic alignment time, which is going to be 3.5602. Alright, we have calculated this, but are we sure all these calculations are correct? Can we check on that? Yes, we can check on that. And how we can do that? If our calculations are correct, that means if we apply our skills to our organic align time of 3.6502, we should get our displayed current align time of 3.19 seconds. Alright, let's do that. And we will have 3.6502 multiplied by 0.92 multiplied by 0.95. Remember the values from the previous calculations. And if we do this, we will, yes, obtain 3.1902, which is rounded up to this value, 3.19. So yes, our calculations are correct. Alright, so we have seen one factor which is very important, the organic or the base inertia modifier. What else affects inertia? First of all, we have the mass. The heavier the ship, the lower its agility. Adding mass will result in lower agility. Also, as we have seen before, we have skills like evasive maneuvering, which improves 5% per level, and spaceship commands improves 2% per level, right? And also we have advanced spaceship commands that improve 5% per level, but only for the ships that require advanced spaceship command. Other ways to improve our agility are modules like inertial stabilizers and nanofibers, which improve agility but may come with a trade-off as increased signature radius or lower structure hit points, making the ship easier to lock and hit. Also, we have rigs like low friction nozzle joints that decrease the ship inertia, improving agility, and implants like Nomad series also reduce the inertia modifier, making the ship more agile. Okay guys, previously we have learned how to calculate the organic inertia modifier, and based on that how to calculate organic align time. What I have here is the best 30 ships in EVE Online, sorted out by the organic align time, as we can see in here. So first of all, the frigates are dominating this chart, and also the interceptors, as we can see here. But at the same time, there are some surprises. For example, this Condor, I couldn't see it like a very, very fast ship, but actually, yes, it is a fast ship, right? And what we have here, it's again a surprise. Sunesis is a destroyer, but still it's making up really, really high in this chart, based on spectacular organic inertia modifier of 2. And the mass is also decent for a destroyer, right? More than this, we have the exploration frigates, Astero, Metamorphosis, and Echelon, which made it on the top 10, right? And we have the Daredevil, which is actually the fastest frigate in EVE Online. Faster than that, we have the shuttles, Apotheosis, and the factions shuttles. Every faction has a shuttle, and all of them have the same value. And surprise or not surprise, the fastest of all is the capsule with these numbers. Okay then, what else is very important to mention in here? Besides this, we have the tactical destroyers, Hecate, Jackdaw, Confessor, and Sweephole, right? We have the organic inertia in here, we have the mass in here, we have the organic align times in here, which is not actually anything spectacular in this, but these tactical destroyers have a propulsion mode in which they get a massive minus 66.60% reduction in align time. And with that reduction, they get to these totally spectacular values. Let's get the largest of them, which is 3.05 for Jackdaw, right? And if we put this into our chart, right, the Jackdaw, right, will be here in front of all these frigates. So that's a very, very, very important mention to be made with these tactical destroyers. If you want a fast ship, a tactical destroyer is a very good option as well. I have actually the data for by far more ships than this 34 that I have displayed here. If you guys need the information like organic inertia modifier and organic align time for any ship, please let me know in the comments, and I will be more than happy to provide you with that particular information. All right. Why this list is important? Because if you want to build a very fast ship, these ships are the best candidates to do that. Let's proceed with under 2 seconds game mechanics. Achieving a 2 seconds align time, also known as Insta jump or Insta warp, is often seen as the golden benchmark for safe and efficient travel in EVE Online. The main reason is that this threshold minimizes the chances of being caught in a gate camp or by a fast locking ship. Let's see exactly how this unfolds. So what we have here, it's an Insta warp, which someone who can align in 2 seconds, 2.00 seconds or lower. And also we have an Insta locker, someone who can lock in 1 second or lower. It's very important to mention that normally 1 tick means 1 second, except of course the scenarios in which too many players are on the same server. Alright, what we have next here is the actions taken by each player. So the Insta warper will just click warp 2, right? And everything else will go automatically. And the Insta locker, we will try to lock the target. And for that, he needs actually to do two things, two actions. He needs first to acquire the target, right? Maybe it's not the best formulation to say lock target. This is more like acquire the target. That would be the step 1, and step 2 will be to press the warp disruptor button in order to disrupt the warp, right? So Insta locker will have to do 2 actions in this situation versus 1 action that the Insta warper needs to do. So what we have here, there are a set of actions that actually the server will try to do at the same time, right? Based on the information they have on the previous step, right? So the server is not going to do the Insta warper actions first and after that the Insta locker's actions. No, the server will try to do and interpret the actions at the same time. So at the very first tick, the server is receiving the warp command. The Insta warper has pressed warp 2. The server receives that, and the ship starts to declock. So it's very important to mention that actually this will take 1 tick, and the action will start to make consequences at the next tick. At the next tick, the align time starts. Ship starts to align, right? But the speed is still under 75%, so the ship cannot warp yet. On the other side, at the locker, a lot of very interesting things are happening. First of all, the ship will appear on grid, but will appear with a latency. Why is that? Because the server is saying to the player, hey, there is a ship on the grid, but the player will see that only with his network latency. So this 1x means 1 latency, right? Player locker reacts immediately, right? He wants to make a target here, so he reacts in the same second, right? But he reacts, but the server receives his reaction again with a latency. The input lock target is received with a latency. After that input is received again with latency, the lock time starts. As we mentioned, the lock time here should be 1 second or lower. Good. We go to the tick 2, in which the ship gets a speed of over 75%. Align time ends, right? Because it started here and is less or equal to 2 seconds, right? So at least at the end of this tick, the align time ends and the ship warps, right? On the other side, for the locker, the lock timer completes, right? Target is locked. He will see his target locked in here, and he will press immediately the warp disruptor button. Well, of course, he can preheat that. He can have that already pressed. So the warp disruptor button command will be sent on this tick, but is going to be processed on the next tick. On the next tick, on tick 3, the warp disruptor is processed, but at that time, ship is already in warping, is not at the location. So as a result, the target is lost. Okay, what can happen in a situation like this? First of all, smart bombs can destroy the enemy ship. Secondly, the Insta warper can experience a latency, right? And that can boggle or even compromise his actions. So yes, it can happen that for you to have latency and the other guy not to have latency, and that's not a good news. Not totally uncommon errors. So the Insta warper, instead of pressing warp 2, he press anything else, he decloaks his ship, and then it's an easy task for a locker to get in and lock his ship and destroy it. And not ultimately is the so-called ultra locker, but this is totally crazy because the lockers 2 times the ping time plus his reaction time plus his lock time has to be less than 1 second. So shortly put, everything that happens here on this cell needs to happen in less than 1 second, which is totally crazy, but it can still be done. Okay, then let's try to use this information and build some designs with under 2 seconds align time. Alright, and the first on the list is the Daredevil. Okay, let's have a look at that. Let's simulate ship. Let's see how easy and how hard it is to make this an under 2 seconds align time. We already have 242 here. Let's go in hardware and put an inertial stabilizer too. These are quite cheap, but of course it requires the tech to research the tech in order to use them. Let's put one of these, and yes, we already have under 2 seconds align time, so we can use the rest of the slots for anything else that we need for this particular ship. Alright, next on the list, let's put Astero, which is an exploration frigate. This and simulate ship. Yes. Alright, we already have 2.57. Let's try a nanofiber this time, not an inertial, because with an inertial, we need an inertial and something else. Okay, let's put an inertial in here, and let's try a rig, low friction, nozzle joints. And yes, we are already under 2 seconds align time. Next, maybe something a little bit cheaper. Let's try an Atron here. This, yes. So we have 2.70 here, and let's put now the inertial stabilizer. We are at 216, and if we put a nanofiber, let's try nanofiber as well. Alright, we are already under 2 seconds. I believe we can put two nanofibers in here. Let's try that. Yes, with 2 nanofibers we are under 2 seconds. Alright. And the whole setup so far it's 1.1 million is, so this setup is quite accessible for a lot of players. Let's try a Tsunesis. Alright, and yes. And again, guys, if we have the right information, top 30 fastest ships, of course, it's very easy to make fast ships. So we are already at 2.75, and nanofiber. Okay, let's put a nanofiber. Let's put an inertial stabilizer as well. Yes, and we are already under 2 seconds. Of course, we still have rigs, and we still have the rest of the modules that we can use. Right, what else? A slasher. Okay, let's try a slasher. Again, it's a very accessible ship. Yes, 279, but in this case we have only two low slots. Let's try to put something meaningful in there. Inertial stabilizer with the 23. Come on, it's already one. And let's put the rigs as well. And with one stabilizer and one low friction nozzle joints, we are already under 2 seconds, and the setup so far is 3.2 million ISK. So again, quite accessible. All right, let's take something from the end of the list. For example, a rifter. Let's do a rifter. That will be the last one. That's right. And we are at 3.13 seconds. And if we put a nozzle joint is to 69, and let's try some inertials. I believe we need 2 inertials, it's way under 2 seconds. Alright guys, that was there were a few examples. Again, it's very easy to use the ships on the list and make a very fast ship out of that. Alright, let's see if we can accept the challenge to build the ultimate align time, which is a ship which aligns under 1 second. This is like a concept car. Most likely it's not something that needs to be used day by day, but yes, it can be used on a daily basis, of course, but it's just a design to show that we can do that. All right, and first on the list is Hecate. As we mentioned, Hecate is a tactical destroyer. Let's put that in here. And simulate ship. Okay, so we are here at 5.78 seconds, and we will put from the very first the propulsion mode to get those bonuses, and with the bonuses we get at 1.93 seconds. So we are already under 2 seconds with no additional modules in here, but we want to be under 1 second. All right, and for that we will have this time to put some serious gear. Is not going to work with just with simple initial stabilizers too. We need to put in here the heavy stuff, which is Shadow Serpentis inertial stabilizers, and we need 4 of this. Okay, as we can see, we are at 1.01 second. It's not good enough. We need to be 1 second or less than that. So let's put the rigs as well. Nozzle joints, and in this very moment, yes, we are at 1 second. Let's see if one additional rig can bring us any benefits. Just 0.01 seconds. Well, we can neglect that. It's okay to have 1 full second and to use the rest of the modules for something else. So again, this is a useful ship, but is going to be quite pricey, right? And this 1 second align time really comes at a price. All right, next on the list would be the Jackdaw. Right, let's try to do that. Let's do the simulation here. So first of all, instead of 4 slow slots, we have only 3 of them, so that will be a drawback. Let's try the same as before, to put maybe the joints, the nozzle joints first, because they are right here, and there is nothing else better in there to put. To activate the propulsion mode, we are at 1.4 for 0 seconds. Alright, let's put the inertial stabilizer. And again the shadow serpentis ones, the expensive ones. And as we can see, as we apply the new stabilizers to a lower and a lower base, our benefit, our gain is going to be lower and lower. So with Jack Dow, I am still at the 1.06 seconds, but it's very important to make a calculation out of this. I will need a good chunk of Nomad implants and other stuff in order to bring this jack down under 1 second again. And finally, let's give another example, which is the capsule. So I will click on the ship and leave ship, and on the capsule simulate fit. Alright, and we are already well below 2 seconds and also well below 1 second. So capsule actually it's very fast. It doesn't have any kind of defense, right? But speed and agility are the main weapons for our capsule. So it's very doable if you need to reach a location, just to go with the capsule and nothing else. That was everything from me today, guys. If you have any experience, anything to share, please do that in the comments. I would be more than happy to answer your questions and to see what was your experience regarding this align time. Thank you so much for reaching this point, and see you in the next vid.
Warp drive active.
All of our tutorials are meant to be seen in sequence. Be sure you have checked on that. Before we go, please give us a thumbs up, it's free. Grow with the channel, hit that subscribe button and activate notification bell now. Share and always recommend Maxte in your social media and to your friends. Thank you for being with us. See you in the next one.